Sean's in Bexley. Sean, what would you like to say?
Hello.
Hello, Sean.
To be honest with you, I'm just really annoyed with all the lies that have been going on over the years. Like, it's been really, I think it disengages people from politics.
Or it engages them more in a really ugly way. That's the kind of other side. You either walk away or you get dirty with them.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, for me, that the main party that has the sound policies are the Lib Dems.
Right.
I think remaining within the EU would be the best deal for Britain. I think we've done very well while we've been there.
A lot of people who haven't done well on a personal level voted to leave it because they thought something's got to change. Anything would be better than this. Most of them would now realise, if we had a remotely objective media, that they were wrong to think that. But I don't blame them for being susceptible to that argument.
Well, I mean, if you look at UKIP, I mean, during the early kind of 2001 time, their main argument was against the euro, hence why they got the pound as their main logo. Now, since they started lying about how many Bulgarians, Romanians were coming in, that's when the momentum really kind of drew bigger for them.
You always get an economic crisis coupled with an immigration or a refugee crisis, and crypto-fascism or real-life fascism always flourishes.
Yeah. But the main point I want to make is our first-past-the-post system is what truly cripples us, because we have the Lib Dems arguing for good things that do represent 48% of the country. The reason why no one will vote for them is because they're scared they're going to waste their vote.
You look at your constituency, you got it. Just as you were speaking, someone, Viv has tweeted to say, if a third centrist party was to form, you'd need to change the first-past-the-post voting system, otherwise it just couldn't work.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just voting evil or lesser evil.
Well, let's not be mean. No, evil's a big word. Let's just say you're voting fudge or fudgety fudge.
Yeah, okay. I didn't mean evil in the sense
I know.
of, right,
I know you
coming
didn't.
out of hell, but
no, or
what I'm
Mordor.
trying to say is that shouldn't people be able to vote for the things that they truly want and have that vote count?
Yeah, I kind of agree. Well, I do agree with you in essence, but I mean that ship sailed arguably for 2 or 3 generations under the coalition government. What are you going to do at the next election then? Because unless someone can talk you into the position where you can just shut your eyes, stick your fingers in your ears, and still wait for your unicorn to arrive, you are utterly dispossessed. You're utterly disenfranchised.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, where I live, in the last election, I'm a Lib Dem voter, but I had to vote Labour because it was kind of the lesser fudge, if you like. So,
well, when you vote, you see, this is what the Conservatives are going to do today, and I sense that the call to arms from central office has gone out with regard to this programme, and hopefully we'll be able to squeeze in a few more of them before 11 o'clock. But what they're arguing today is that you voted Labour hoping that they would be more likely to stop Brexit than the Conservatives, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what the Conservatives are doing now is insisting that you didn't. They're telling you that actually when you voted Labour you were voting for the very specific pledges in their manifesto that made it look as if you wouldn't be leaving the customs union or the single market. Everyone I know who voted Labour did so with their fingers crossed. Every single person did so with their fingers crossed, thinking, well, the Tories have to carry on with this. May's made it absolutely clear that she's going to defy her own beliefs, her own convictions, her own credentials, her own knowledge, her own understanding, and she's thrown a lot in with Boris Johnson and Michael Gove. Labour kind of have to say that at the moment because of this ludicrous will of the people, enemies of the people narrative. But you crossed your fingers and you put your X in the box thinking that a year or two down the line what's happening today might start happening, but it's not enough.
Yeah, that's very true. However, you made a really good point earlier about, I think when they were campaigning to leave, they were saying that we could be like Norway. Now, Norway are part of the EEA.
Yep.
So, I mean, surely we should then be saying we should be part of the EEA and customs union.
Well, not just you or we saying that. Anybody who mentioned Norway or Switzerland during the referendum campaign should now be shifting allegiance from Theresa May to Jeremy Corbyn, because what Jeremy Corbyn is describing today is closer to what they campaigned for than what Theresa May is currently pursuing. But you know what you're doing, Sean?
Yep.
You're being logical, mate.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what I've tried to be. It's hard.
No, mate, it's Brexit, mate.
I see myself as a working-class person, and all the people surrounding me are pretty much working class. But a lot of them are buying into a lot of lies. And when you try and educate and you try and say, look, this is not really the case, and you give them the facts, they still are in denial.
Well, if you I would take it to its next stage, and I hope this hasn't happened to you yet, and maybe the fact that you describe yourself as working class insulates you from this accusation. When you share with them the facts and point out to them that they're lying, normally you would get called condescending and be accused of sneering. That's the other trick that's worked rather well in the last couple of years.
Absolutely. I mean, I've had a lot of people turn their back on me and stuff. To be fair, I'm one of the only people from where I came from that went to university. So I actually spent 3 years studying about the EU. Now, if I spent 3 years studying about the EU and I still need to understand so much more about it, then how are people given the vote based on what the media thinks?
You and me both. The university education is not the be-all and end-all of life, but I've been thinking about it quite a lot lately, and what I realised is that it teaches you to learn before opinion. This is what critical thinking is. It doesn't necessarily mean it will lead you to the right opinions, but what you learn at university is that you should base your opinions on your understanding of issues. And people who haven't gone, I think, often fall into the trap of thinking they're just allowed to choose an opinion, and it has as much value as the ones that are based on thought and evidence.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of working class people think if you go to university, you're going to be brainwashed into this kind of tree-hugging, left commie way of thinking, but it's not about that. When you go to university, they give you the skills to think and think critically, to work out.
Well, I think so.
Things logically.
I would say that, though, Sean. It's coming up to 10 to 11. We're talking about class, I think, in the next hour. I'd break the habit of a lifetime and let someone on twice.
You're listening to a podcast of James O'Brien from LBC.
Quite a few of you are cross with me for not taking the Corbyn speech live. Well, you know how this programme works.
Union. This is an economy that has already been damaged